Yes. I don't hear
Can't
you.
hear you.
I think yours is muted.
No, I'm not
Okay,
muted.
there we go.
Have you been on a podcast before?
No.
Nope.
No?
No, I haven't.
Newbies.
Newbies.
Podcast virgins.
Welcome to Unclogged Conversations. Well, to kind of start a podcast, we don't want to jump right into how do you snake a drain. What we want to talk about is like just stuff. And
Okay.
so we're kind of getting started here. But I guess the first thing I want to know about everybody is like, do we have Christmas plans?
Yes.
Well, Jessica was pretty quick with that, so I wonder what her Christmas plans are.
Well, we go over to my parents' house Christmas morning. Christmas Eve, we go over to Chris's aunt and uncle's. Chris will probably have one too many Manhattans. So then we wake up, open gifts, and then get ready, go to my parents, and then we go back to his cousins. That's it.
Do you have like
And
a
it's a
special?
long day for us with the kid.
Are you a good gift giver?
The one good thing is all the kids are older, so approaching teen years, or they are teenagers, so all they want is clothes. So it's really easy.
That doesn't seem very old to me. Does that seem old to you?
Well,
Approaching teenager?
They don't want toys anymore. It's all clothes.
Toys are easy. Clothes are hard.
Really? I think clothes are really easy, but I like clothes, so maybe that's why.
The unspoken thing is that Joe is my son.
Mm-hmm.
I am.
Something nobody knows.
What I want to know, Joe, can you describe our Christmas tradition?
Yeah, so it's basically when I was younger, it was me and Taylor would come wake you guys up. We'd have a family breakfast. Mom just cooks a big breakfast, trying to stall out when we open our presents, I guess. But now I sleep in, and then whenever I wake up is kind of when we get the day started. So it could be anywhere from 10 to 12.
Jesus. Nine.
I don't even know the last time I slept in until 10.
Nope.
No.
Well, it's an acquired taste to sleep in that.
When you're 22. Yeah, one of the frustrating things is my family tradition before I married Adele, Joe's mom, would be to open Christmas presents the night before. But my wife is very strict.
Yeah, it's breakfast. We all help with the dishes, clean up, and then we start with the stockings, envelopes, gift cards, stuff like that, and the stocking stuffers. And then Charlie runs around and he'll hand out the presents. You open one present at a time and everyone watches that person open the present.
That's so nice.
Yep.
So yeah, and then we do a Christmas Day dinner, right?
Where do we go?
The same Chinese restaurant in Fayetteville.
What's that?
The Oriental Star. We've been going there for 12 years now.
Yeah, what you come to realize is that Jewish people don't celebrate Christmas, and so they have to go eat somewhere on Christmas Day. So when you go to a Chinese restaurant, it's full of Jewish people primarily. Has to do
Yeah, and then it's really good. And it's more nostalgic than it is anything, I think. It's just, we've done it for so long now that, it's tradition.
And the ribbon game?
Oh, yes, the ribbon game. One of the presents that we get from my grandparents, or presents/games, is that they get little bow ties, like the Christmas bow ties that you would put on presents, but instead of sticking them on a present, they stick like little wrapped up pieces of paper, and inside of them is an unknown amount of money. So basically everyone gets their choice of ribbon, and then you open up the envelope and you either get a penny, a nickel, $100, $50.
Wow.
So basically, your Christmas gift depends on your luck that year. I think the most I ever got was like $50.
That's cool.
Who typically gets the biggest dollar amounts?
Nice.
I was
Yes.
going to guess
Which,
Charlie.
which, by the way, really, really upset. Well, upset my mother-in-law, and she passed away this year, but
Yeah.
she's super mad that I would always.
Yeah, because my dad was not very well liked by my grandparents on my mom's side.
No. Loyal husband of 27 years here. Raised some really beautiful children. But yeah, that's a podcast for another day. That'll be like, so the title of this podcast is Unclogged Conversations, right? So the conversation should flow freely. You like that? That's clever.
That is
very clever.
clever.
Yep. We have a tradition where we don't go anywhere Christmas Day.
Oh,
You know,
that's
we wake up and we're in our pajamas all day. Kids open their presents, and pretty much willy nilly. They just rip into them, rock them all out, and then we just hang out all day as a family. But we don't usually have people over. We don't go anywhere. That was kind of my rule, but we're gonna
Mhm.
call it a tradition. No,
I like that. I
Yep.
did that before I was married
nice.
and lived at home.
All right.
Mhm.
Well, good. See, there you go. That's how a conversation should go. Unclogged. No, what would be in there? No hair, clogging the drain. No
Grease.
Grease,
Yeah.
wet wipes.
butt wipes.
No
Yeah.
lady feminine,
Feminine
products.
products.
Yeah. Oh
Mhm.
boy. We're gonna get into that. Okay, so what we want to do is kind of introduce ourselves. That's how a podcast should go. A couple of quick rules on how it should go. You can hear. Nothing I can do in post-production to fix that. So if you touch, see, I got like this thing here. So just kind of be mindful of the table.
Okay.
It'll make noise. In time, we'll come up with some ways to, like that thing we have at the house that hangs the laundry that we have in our living room.
Yeah, like a clothes rack.
Yeah, there you go.
Like a portable clothes rack.
Yeah, I have one.
I think we might do like a clothes rack on a couple of sides to like have a curtain to make it sound a little bit better.
Oh,
Something like
Okay.
that.
Soften the sound.
Maybe like
Yeah.
have like a tablecloth, like maybe a cushiony one. So in
Okay.
time, as Chris allows the budget, I don't know if we know who that guy is, but
No idea.
for now we're just trying to get a kind of a flow going. So why don't we introduce ourselves, and I'll go first to kind of get the ball going. And for those who are watching, we do have an audience watching. So the whole idea of this is a
Live?
YouTube. No,
Okay.
no.
Good.
Not on Twitch or anything.
Not on
no.
Twitch. And you can always just the closer you get to the microphone,
Yep.
the easier it'll be to edit and post. So
That's why I'm so close.
get really close. You can.
Okay.
There you go. See, it sounds really good when you get close. Okay, so this is Unclogged Conversations. My name is Levi. And my role here at Superior Drain Solutions and construction design and management is to produce content. I think I make some pretty good videos.
Mhm.
Jesse, you've been in one of them.
Mhm.
Daryl, you've been a star in
A
many
few.
of them.
Mhm.
Joe was in one of them.
I don't remember.
The golf,
Oh, yeah, our golf video.
the
Yep.
golf video.
Oh.
I don't know how he convinced Chris
Oh,
to do
yes,
that.
I did see that one. Yeah.
I convinced Chris.
How did you convince Chris to do this?
I didn't even really convince him. I just mentioned, I heard from a lot of the other construction guys that in the past they have done like golf outings, they've done local charity events, stuff like that. And being new to the company, I started back in May this year. And being really big into golf, I wanted to set something up myself. So it was basically just me asking Chris, hey, when can we do something
Right.
golf related, or when can we get something going? And he's like, Joe, you just go ahead and set it up and let me know, and then I'll approve it. I was like, okay, sounds good.
It's awesome.
That's so nice.
Yes,
He's a nice guy.
Chris is very nice.
Sounds like you have a good boss.
Yeah,
I
Chris.
do.
Yeah. So like I say, my name is Levi. I produce all the videos, and my goal for this particular podcast, and maybe something you don't know a little bit about me, is to learn. This is kind of lame. A little bit more about drain cleaning. That's horrible. That was really bad, wasn't it? I wasn't expecting to be on, actually. I thought Corey was going to be here. So
I know, I
didn't
did
really,
too.
I didn't really think about it. So occasionally I might be here. Occasionally I'll be on that side of the camera doing some other things. But my job is to help produce this particular podcast. So
Mhm.
why don't we
Very
go
nice.
around the horn to Joe? Joe, why don't you introduce yourself?
All right, my name is Joe Spires. My role with Superior, I guess, is this podcast, becoming a I guess a media person, a podcast person, a spokesperson for Superior, and along the way, I'm going to learn a lot about drain service, or what the Superior guys do. I'm not really too familiar with it. If anything, I do more work with construction design and management, our construction side, where that for that side of the business, I'm a project coordinator and a junior estimator. So that's kind of my role. And then, yeah, only been working for 7 months now, but loved every day so far.
Well, Chris, if you see this, he meant that.
I'm not sure if he'll even watch.
We'll never watch it. No.
I don't know if he's watched any of the videos. I'm not sure.
Well, introduce yourself.
I'm Jessica Pasanti. I am Chris's wife, and my role, I guess I do some administrative work when I'm free. Have 3 kids at home, so always home taking care of them.
Yeah. But what do you think your role is with this podcast?
Try to make it funny,
Bring me entertainment.
right?
Yeah, bring the laughs.
Yeah.
Bring the laughs. And most importantly, Daryl, you're the legit drain person when it comes to this podcast.
I guess I got that role.
What's
All
your
right. I'm Daryl Smith. I'm a field service technician for Superior Drain. Been May will be 3 years, so 2.5, 2 3/4 years. Been doing this.
Yeah, and Daryl's been by far the easiest person for me to video and produce content with. So people are like, "Why do I see Daryl all the time?" Well, because Daryl lets me do it.
He's good.
He's good.
And, he's tech savvy too. I mean, when I was digging for new softwares for Superior to use, Daryl was my go-to guy when I had questions for him, and he was the most tech savvy, and he was the most interested in it too. I think he was the only one that cared, honestly, too.
Absolutely. Always interested in tech.
Because we have another Chris. So there's
Yep.
Chris, your husband,
And
but
then
there's
Chris Dollum.
Chris Dollum. Chris Dollum is the I don't know, what's his boss of CD?
Field
Is
service manager.
that an official title?
Yeah.
Field
service manager.
Right, but Chris is he's probably what 30 something years in the industry, something like that. So one thing that's really good about Superior is we know frankly, and so we'll definitely talk about that throughout the show. But let's let me see here. My agenda is over here. Let's kind of jump into like a fun conversation here. What's your favorite podcast? Do you even listen to podcasts?
I did when I was depressed, being a first-time mom, so I had to listen to other moms talk about how much they did not enjoy being a first-time mom. So that's what I listened to for like a year.
What was the name of the podcast?
I don't remember. I've been okay for the last 4 years, so it's been a while.
That's
funny. My favorite podcast is actually called Jumpers Jump, and it's like they talk about like conspiracy theories and stuff. So I listen to it on my way to work and on my way, long drives, stuff like that. Listen to every single episode, and they've had like 300 episodes. So,
Nice.
but no, it's definitely my favorite podcast. Cool,
cool.
interesting stuff.
What do you notice anything about the way they produce it? Is it on YouTube?
I listen on Spotify, but I know that their main way of producing the podcast is YouTube videos. It's a long form YouTube video where, it's 2 guys talking with each other, and they have special guests sometimes. And for the most part, with like conspiracy theories and pop culture stuff, they play videos. So when I listen to it on Spotify, they'll talk about videos and stuff, and I won't really know what's going on, but they do a good job at it, like kind of explaining what's going on. And
Nice. So I do a lot of driving in the van. So I do a lot of listening. Once in a while the radio, but usually I've got an Audible account, so I download books and listen to books on tape. Right now I'm listening to The Stand, which is like 47.5 hours long. So that's
Wow.
going to keep me busy for a few weeks. But as far as podcasts, I'm on Spotify all the time. Two Bears, One Cave, Joe Rogan Show. Roger Wakefield is big in the plumbing industry, so I listen to a lot of his stuff, YouTube videos or shorts, and I think he's got a podcast that I've caught a few times.
What about oh my gosh, what was it? Theo Vaughn?
Theo Vaughn,
Yeah, definitely.
he's okay.
I've never listened
He's
to
a
this
little nutty.
podcast.
Well, yeah, there's definitely. Well, what's really interesting, I listen to a ton of podcasts too. I'm an Uber driver when I'm not producing videos and stuff like that. And so I listen to a lot of podcasts between rides. I don't listen to podcasts with my passengers in the car. But what's really interesting about podcasts, and I think the reason why we all tend to gravitate toward ones that we like or whatever it might be, is it's like a conversation. You kind of get a chance to kind of it's not produced. And so I was listening to the podcast. I was listening to Joe Rogan and what's his name was on it. They had their podcast. It was the people that produced Pulp Fiction or the director for Pulp Fiction. I'm trying to forget
Uh,
Quentin Tarantino
Quentin Tarantino.
and
Yep.
his friend, and they have a podcast. And it's kind of like they review movies, but they're both directors, so it's kind of cool. And they're comparing it to Siskel and Ebert. Do you remember that show? You don't know that show, do you?
I don't think so.
You
Mm-mm.
don't know that show?
Mm-mm.
You know it, right? Because 50, right? So, but Siskel and Ebert was like a show that came on TV. It was just two guys reviewing movies. And the difference between that show, Siskel and Ebert, and a podcast reviewing a movie would be the way the conversation flows, the pre-production. Whereas, so like Siskel and Ebert, they kind of like would talk ahead of time what they're going to talk about. They're going to film it. They get 3 minutes to talk about their show, and it's a 30-minute TV show. So 22 minutes on the air. There's 8 minutes of commercials, and it was just everything was like it was acted. It wasn't real.
Scripted.
It was
Almost.
scripted. Yeah, that's a better word, right? So scripted. Whereas a podcast, what makes them really special and unique is it's the conversation. We don't know where it's going to go, and it's come almost like if we were to come into this conversation like knowing what we're going to talk about, we'd almost kind of gravitate towards scripted. Like if we kind of focused on the camera, we might start losing the idea of the conversation. One of the things about a podcast too is the idea of wearing a headphone. It makes the conversation more intimate to some extent.
Mhm.
Now it's weird because we can hear the echo and stuff like that, but in time you kind of get the sense of it. One of the really other neat things about podcasts, and because it's just conversation, is we can just rotate through people. Maybe it's you this week and Robbie the next week, and Corey could be sitting over there, I could be over there, and maybe you're out one week for whatever reason, and et cetera. We can kind of just rotate through. So the object of the podcast is just to be authentically who we are. And so now this is a PG podcast, so
It would be PG
You might
post
have to kick
production.
me out then.
Yeah, post production will be PG, but you never know what's going to happen during the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the podcast is my idea. And so I pitched this to Chris, and because Chris came to me, he's like, Levi, I want to market Superior. And one of the things that's really frustrating about marketing today is that nobody watches your ads, right? Do you ever watch an ad?
Try and skip it when I can.
Mm-hmm.
Skip it or pay for
Ad free. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Premium, right? Exactly. So we skip the ads. And so buying ads is expensive and it doesn't deliver the same return on investment. What I think this podcast can do is build trust within the community, right? And I think, and Daryl, you can speak to this a little bit more, but I think probably some of the big questions that you get would be something like, are you going to give me a quote? And how do I know you're giving me an honest quote and stuff like that? But through a podcast, and if we produce this and people happen to see it, and then they go, oh, Daryl, and they call, does that make
Put a face to the name.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you've told me, and I want you to articulate this a little bit more. You've said many times you enjoy helping people with their problems and stuff like that. Do you feel there's like this opportunity to build trust and build a relationship with the community and stuff like that? I mean,
Certainly.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's not super easy to just allow somebody in your house that can see everything you have and know what you do and when you're gonna be there, when you're not gonna be there. So there has to be that certain trust back and forth. But people trust us to bring equipment in their house and work on their drains and not break stuff and make it worse. We're there to try and make it better. We definitely want to be, honest and upfront with our customers. And I think they really appreciate us doing that and following through with what we say we're going to do.
It's almost like intimate.
Yeah.
Like,
Sure.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, when you came over to fix our sink, Vinny He wanted to crawl right underneath
Yep.
the sink with him
Yep.
and help him.
Yep. He was playing with
And
all
then
my
he's been
tools.
asking for a gold necklace.
I don't want to say anything. That's what I always think about when I think about Daryl. I look at my film. I'm like, I hope the necklace comes out.
Oh, jeez. I just tucked it away.
Yeah, but no, I would say, yeah, Vinny, yeah, he obviously felt
Yes.
comfortable enough with you that
Yeah.
he did not leave your side.
Yep.
I was like, Vinny, just leave him alone.
Well, I think when I used the word intimate, I was also thinking like it's like personal. Like I'm sure you've seen things people probably didn't want you to see.
Sure.
It's embarrassing.
Here and there. Yeah. It doesn't phase me. I see it all the time, but I'm sure for the customer, they're probably like, oh man, I should have cleaned up that laundry or shouldn't have had that left there. And
I shouldn't
Sure.
have flushed that down the
Yeah.
toilet. All right. Well, good. So, Joe, what are your expectations for this podcast?
For me, honestly, it's a good way to explore different sides of the business. I've taken a few classes on marketing in college for like I started my master's in business administration, so I took a few marketing classes, but so far in what I've done for work, I've barely touched any marketing, and so I think that this podcast opens up a door for creativity that isn't necessarily seen all the time in day-to-day like construction and drain service cleaning work. So for me, it's just a way to kind of express myself, and for other people who come on the podcast to express themselves, and just honestly just have a good time. I think laughing, smiling is a good way to build again like that relationship with the community and stuff like that. But
And with each other.
with each
Sure.
other as well.
Sure.
Us four, we're sitting, our feet are all touching basically at the table.
It's really
So
tight.
it's really tight. So it's a good way for us to get a better understanding of the people that we work with as well.
Certainly.
Now, you've always been into marketing and
Yeah,
right?
I guess
So you're
almost
kind of
20
like
years.
following his footsteps?
I actually try not to. I
Okay.
remember my dad's been telling me marketing advice since I was like 12.
Yeah,
Um,
why don't you tell that story? Go ahead.
So I played college soccer at a high level. I went to Binghamton University for 2 years in Manhattan College prior to that. And before I even got to play for a college team, I had to market myself, is how my dad would put it. My dad built me a website. I would upload daily vlogs, vlogs and blogs, where I would talk about my training, how I'm progressing as a player, what I thought of in the session, my coaches, the people I'm playing with, and I would email at least 5 coaches a day, or I tried to. There were definitely some days where I would cry and scream and argue with my dad because I didn't want to do it because I didn't see the point in it at the time.
Insert Chris in that instead of Joe. Let's say Chris and Chris. They're the same thing.
Mhm.
Okay, keep going, Joe.
But yeah, so I had to market myself and take pictures, write down paragraphs and stuff like that. And that was my introduction into marketing. So I actually hated marketing growing up. But once I got to college and like once I was actually, fully understanding what I did to get to where I was, then I was thankful to my dad.
Mhm.
I didn't express it every day, but I think he knew.
That's awesome.
Oh, we gotta do the how they people do they
That's Korean. Yeah.
that's Korean. There you go.
I'm not Korean.
Yeah. Well, what was really interesting about from a marketing.
What is your ethnicity?
I'm Japanese.
Oh, okay.
He's half Japanese. 'Cause I'm
Okay.
white.
You are.
That's right.
Yes, I know. I'm half Japanese. My mother is full of Japanese.
That's cool.
From Hawaii.
Still,
Okay. Does anybody speak Japanese in our family?
me.
You do?
Yeah, I'm fluent.
Okay, this is what I'm talking about the other day.
What?
You liar.
No, you and Corey.
It's a fib, not a lie.
Mm.
It's different.
Yeah.
I can't tell when they're telling the truth or lying.
It's
They're pretty
definitely
good
lying.
at it. They're
Well,
good liars.
The thing is he says he speaks. My wife does not speak Japanese. Neither do her parents.
Okay.
And they're in their 80s.
So how would you know? How would you be so fluent in it?
Well, I took a college class. I mean, no, okay. Well,
Hey.
first of all, my mom did try and teach me Japanese when I was younger. She knew kindergarten level Japanese when I was in kindergarten, so that would make me fluent when I was kindergarten. But to be fair, I didn't listen to any of the lessons, and my mom gave up because I would cry all the time.
Yeah.
But then I got to college and I took Japanese classes, and I also watch like anime. I read, stuff in Japanese, listen to Japanese music. So you pick on things here and there, and it kind of just.
Okay. Yeah.
So I know like short little phrases, and
The way you know you're Japanese is the fact that mom is really strict. Japanese tiger mom.
well, kind of. Growing up, like before I started to get consistently good grades, my mom would make sure I did my homework in front of her, stuff like that. And then eventually, I started to consistently get good grades, so she didn't need to see me doing my homework, and she just trusted me.
Flashcards, crying.
That was when I was like a kid, but yes, flashcards and
He
crying.
does a lot of crying, huh?
He does a lot.
I know, it
Nice.
sounds
Still
like
to
it.
this day.
Yeah.
When's the last time you gave a good cry?
Last time I gave a good cry?
Oh, battery ran out.
No.
I don't know. It's good to be emotional though. I
It
think
is. I agree for a male. Yes.
I cry
I
at
mean, us
puppy dog
females are always
commercials.
emotional, but
I like this light better actually now.
good because
Personally. Not as-
that light probably was shining on my greasy forehead.
yeah,
That
well,
Vinny gave me a kiss last night on my forehead and he goes, "What's on my lips?" I was like, "It's called being oily." So
it's leftover Botox.
PG.
Uh,
Keep it PG.
Keep it PG. Daryl, because this is a Superior Drain Solutions podcast, what are your expectations? What do you want to see happen?
I just want to see us keep growing. There was 3 people when I started, then one left, and so it was just Chris and I for a little while, and then we picked up another guy, and then picked up another person, and then another person, and now we've got 6, and we're still growing. So I just want to keep growing. See 20 vans out there on the road, and helping customers everywhere across New York State, at least.
Do you think it's important for people to understand what you're going to be doing when you show up at their house?
Absolutely.
Like, do you want them to be educated before you start work, or
Sure.
like how does that process work? I'm interested. Do you just show up and say, "All right, let me get to work," or do you explain what you're going to do for them?
A little bit of both. A lot of customers have kind of been through this. So yeah, my kitchen sink drain clogged 2 years ago, and they came and snaked it. So here it is. Go ahead and do your thing. A lot of times it's just that, and this is what I'm doing. Sometimes they'll stand over you and watch you, and what are you doing there? What are you doing? Oh, that's a cool thing. Oh, I've not. I did the last guy didn't do that. So it's a little bit of both. A lot of times this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. I got to set it up this way so I can run water, so it's flushing everything down the drain. But most of the times it's just like, yep, there's the drain. Have at it, and they walk away until I'm done. So it's
What
a
do you
little bit of both.
What do you prefer? Do you
I-
like them?
Yeah, I don't mind either way. Kids hanging out with me, dogs. I mean, there's been situations where dogs got a little out of hand. But most of the time, pet them and they kind of hang out or they walk away. Same as the owners.
You pet the
Yeah.
owners?
Oh yeah, sure. When I can.
It's just like he's under the sink and the dog jumps on him,
Oh yeah. There was one I was like kept pulling on my shirt, I was chewing on my shirt and kept yanking it, and then he kept stealing paper towels out of my bucket and trying
Oh
to
my
steal
God.
tools, and I'm like, and the owner's just standing there watching. And I'm like,
Oh,
He loves
like,
you.
can you
yeah,
get your dog out of the
Right.
way?
Dog owners would do that. Oh, he likes you.
Mhm.
I know.
Mhm.
So good. All right. Well, I'll close it all out. But before we close, what I'd like to know is there anybody that you'd like to have as a guest on this podcast?
Chris Pisanti.
Would he be a guest?
Yes, because it's going to be really difficult to get him on here. I don't think I
Yeah.
could
We'll
even
have to do
convince him.
We'll have to do like a hidden camera thing.
Yeah.
We'll just all go in his office, start talking, and there's actually we're filming it for a podcast. Okay, yeah,
Mhm.
I think Chris would do really well.
Yeah, he would. I don't think he likes to be on camera. That's all.
No,
Mm-mm.
no. He's one of the worst ones to film. He's really tough. He's good when he.
No, he is good when you get him to do it. Yes.
That's right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's do that.
I would like to see Robbie get on here. I think Robbie would be a good personality.
Sure.
And
Mhm.
Robbie's another guy that likes golf just like me.
Yep.
Daryl also likes golf.
I do like golf.
So, but yeah, no, I think Daryl, and Robbie specifically is good personality. He's very outgoing, very talkative, and he's very knowledgeable in the drain services. So he'd be great,
Mm.
great to have on the podcast.
Sonia.
Oh,
She would be a good one because she's the one that answers all the phone calls.
Certainly.
Sonia would be a very
Yes.
good guest.
Yeah, she would be.
I think Lynn.
Lynn too, but that
That's
I
probably
don't
not
know
gonna
if she'll
happen.
say
No,
that.
Lynn's just our accountant and financial person. But I think it'd be funny to have her on here.
It would be. Mhm.
Certainly.
Who do you want?
Probably Corey.
Corey.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna keep trying to snake
the
his way out of
personality.
this.
Yeah, he is.
But Corey will be on here. I think the two regulars are gonna be me. I know I'll be always on here for the most part, and then Jessica as well.
Yeah, definitely.
A regular?
Yeah,
Regular.
you're one of the hosts.
Okay,
Do we
cool.
get paid for this?
Do I get paid for
No,
this?
do we?
Well, you didn't clock out during this time,
Oh,
right?
that's true.
Right?
All
Yeah.
right.
I
I'll
get
get
paid too.
I have to talk with Lynn. I don't know. As the non-employee of this thing, I have to talk with Lynn. Well, you guys were kind of. I mean, I don't have any problems with your guests, but I was hoping for like some really big name.
Get my
You should. Yeah.
She would never do anything like this ever.
Can't hear you.
Yeah.
Can you?
No. Mine's working.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Can't hear me.
No.
I heard that. I thought
Can
I
you
heard-
hear it?
Can you hear me now?
Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
there
There
you
we
go.
go.
Yeah, you just turned yourself down, I guess.
I would like to have Joe Biden because he's a Syracuse guy. Went to Syracuse,
Did he?
and he's like really forgetful now. He's really forgetful.
Very forgetfful.
Yeah, he'd be really fun to have. Just because he was a president, but like he's kind of out of it. So you can. I want to find out about the
You
JFK.
should have like Bernie Sanders then.
I want to know if he knows about the JFK files and that kind of stuff.
Oh,
See,
he probably doesn't
space
remember.
aliens.
I guess Elon Musk would be pretty cool to have on.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I second that.
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, yeah, it's Elon
Mhm.
Musk though.
Or Joe Rogan. He'd be fun.
Mhm.
Joe
Maybe
He
Rogan.
probably
we'll
knows
be.
some stuff about drains.
We do like a collab podcast with Joe Rogan.
There you go.
That'd be cool.
Well, I'll close out the show with this is episode 0 beta. Right?
Okay.
We're trying to get it going.
Yeah.
There's gonna be some real problems, batteries. So we're gonna figure it all out. And so what's the show about? It's about Syracuse. It's about Central New York, pop culture, things we want to talk about, and occasionally we're gonna throw in a little bit of drain cleaning. But it's not gonna be. We're definitely not gonna talk about drain cleaning for every episode because I don't know if we could do it. It'd be really always next to drain. There could be some repetitive boringness to it if we
Yep.
did that. So,
Mhm.
but that's it.
Cool.
That's it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Bye.
That
Thank
was-
you.
Guys.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
See
that
you
was
guys.
pretty
Thank you
easy.
guys.
Thank
See you guys. All right.